absolute pleasure to be here today. First of all, I would like to start my session with a question to all attendees, only to the industry, not to the health authority regulators. Who from the attendees has been an MOH regulator before? More. I will not put focus, yani no pressure, but just a statistical question. Okay. Yani it's a remarkable, as I can see, it's a remarkable and an evident percent. And this shows that the relation between the industry and the health authorities is very strong. And it shows three indicators. First of all, connection and understanding between the authorities and the industry. Number two, it shows also that the experience is flowing between both stakeholders. Most importantly and most prominent, it shows trust. And out of this today, and building on this, this session is going to be focused on two health authorities, Nigeria, Senegal, and we have a very prominent and sophisticated figure coming all the way from Nigeria. It's not every day that you would see a director in a health authority who moderates both biologicals, vaccines, and medical devices. Dr. Khadijah Ade-Abolade. Dr. Khadijah is a pharmacist with over 20 years of experience working in NAFDAC. She holds a Master of Public Health, Master of Regulatory Science and Fellowship. She's also responsible for authorizing donations of vaccines and medical devices for humanitarian and public health needs. She's a lead pharma GMP and QMS expert. She has led numerous GMP inspections on different and foreign manufacturing sites, and she has led serious regulatory decisions on the facilities and the manufactured products. She's also a member of the NAFDAC QMS Steering Committee, and she's responsible for maintaining the QMS in the agency. On top of this, she's also a member of the NAFDAC Strategic Planning and Green Book Committee. She's a focal member of the current initiative of regulating locally manufactured vaccines in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Khadijah on stage.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to be back on this stage again. Again, I want to appreciate the organizers of the AfriSummit for this opportunity. And it's been a very, very good platform, to mix and share ideas and experiences with other colleagues from other jurisdictions. So today I'll just be taking a few minutes to give us a few updates on what's happening in the medical device regulatory space in Nigeria. So I'll just briefly introduce the legal framework and mandates for regulation of medical devices in Nigeria. We look at a few updates, some things that have come up in the agency, and then I'll just take us briefly through our registration process and then conclude. So, NAFDAC was established by a military decree in 1993, which is now cited as the NAFDAC Act, Cap N1 of the Laws of Federation of Nigeria, and it gives us the mandate to regulate and control all of these different activities relating to several product groups, and especially medical devices. We also have the Food, Drug, and Related Products Registration Act, that's Cap F33 of the Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, which also gives us the mandate to register the different regulated products, including medical devices. Now, going to the updates. Right from inception, NAFDAC had one major department for registration of all products that were regulated by the agency. In 2019, to improve efficiency, that directorate, called the Registration and Regulatory Affairs Directorate, was kind of split into two to enable better oversight on the products. So the food registration was separated from the drug registration. So under drug registration, we had human drugs, veterinary medicines, vaccines, biologics, medical devices, and all of that, and cosmetics. So in 2024, the head of service of the Federation also approved again to improve efficiency of the agency, especially with the lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic. It was evident that we needed to have a better control on regulation of medical devices and IVDs. And so the Directorate for Vaccines, Biologics, and Medical Devices Registration and Regulatory Affairs was created in September 2024, and it commenced operations officially on 14th October 2024. So that directorate now has the responsibility for registration of human and veterinary vaccines, biologics, and medical devices, including IVDs. So these are the functions of the directorate: undertake registration of these products, develop regulations and guidelines, issue guidelines, grant approvals and monitor advertisements, grant authorizations, such as permits for service medical devices, and emergency use authorizations for vaccines and IVDs in the interest of public health. We also have the mandate to organize stakeholder engagements, because we know that this is an evolving sector. We need to engage frequently with the stakeholders to enable them comply with regulatory requirements. Okay, so part of our updates again is that we're currently undergoing the WHO GBT Plus assessment for medical devices. By the WHO, we are working towards achieving maturity level 3 for medical devices, and we are the first NRA to go through that assessment. So last week, we just completed the first round of reviews of the institutional development plans. We had the first assessment in November 2024. Then we also have some initiatives to support local production of medical devices and IVDs. We have a few policies that enable restriction of importation of some medical devices that we have local manufacturing capacity in country, like some product standard syringes and all of those. Then also we have a review of our regulation. We had a regulation that was more for registration, labeling, and advertisements only. But after the benchmarking, the WHO GBT benchmarking in November, a decision was taken as part of the IDPs from that assessment to have a comprehensive regulation that covers all the functions, all the regulatory functions required for effective oversight on medical devices and IVDs, and then ensure alignment with the WHO Global Model Regulatory Framework for medical devices. And of course, this will promote public trust. Again, we had been participating in IMDRF activities, and we became an affiliate member of IMDRF on 22nd March 2024. We also participate in a lot of regional and harmonization activities. We are very active in the West African Regulatory Harmonization Project. We are in AMDF, IMDRF, and we also participate in the WHO CRP program. We have some of our assessors that also work with the WHO PQ team in assessment of IVDs for WHO pre-qualification. Before the creation of the new directorate, submission of technical documents for medical device registration was done using the STED format, that's the summary of technical document format. And then, especially with our affiliate membership of IMDRF, we were obliged to adopt or adapt their guidelines. And so we migrated from the use of the STED to the IMDRF TOC format for submission of our technical documents. We also do a lot of knowledge sharing. We had a visit from our sister agency in Gambia, to come and understudy us for some of our activities and our operations. We have a standing medical devices expert advisory committee to support us in key regulatory issues regarding medical devices. And like I said, part of our mandate is to hold stakeholder meetings, so we do this periodically. Then we have a lot of our guidelines that have been reviewed. We have some that have been newly developed, that speaks to effective regulation of medical devices. Also, our process timelines have been reviewed to ensure that we're able to do proper reviews of the technical documents so that we can pronounce beyond reasonable doubt, like our brother from Zambia mentioned earlier, on the quality, safety, and performance of these devices. And our timelines are now based on the risk class of the medical devices. So just going through our registration process quickly, we have an e-registration portal called the NAPAMS portal. So that's where the application submission is done. But before that, there is a dossier screening step that is done off the NAPAMS portal. That we do via our SharePoint. We receive the dossiers. There is a screening to ensure adequacy and completeness before we progress to the NAPAMS portal, where all the other administrative documents are submitted and the dossier review goes on. Then there is a verification of the risk class, review of documentation, there is laboratory evaluation or technical documentation assessment, and then the QMS audit or QMS review. And all of these inputs are brought together, to the Food, Drugs and Drug Registration Committee for approval and issuance of the certificate. So this is just a very high-level summary of our registration process. So in conclusion, the regulation of medical devices, including IVDs in Nigeria, is rapidly advancing. It's really evolving, and NAFDAC is positioning itself to become a global force in medical devices, including IVDs regulatory space. There are very concerted efforts to strengthen this regulatory capacity and become a world-class NRA, especially with our ongoing WHO GBT assessment. The future is indeed very bright for us, and not only for us, but also for the industry and consumers alike in Nigeria and West Africa, as it continues to ensure that only the right quality, safe, and well-performing devices are available for our consumers. So from NAFDAC, a customer-focused and agency-minded organization, I say thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khadijah, for this valuable insights. One final question to wrap up the session, if you don't mind. I think most of us has faced this situation on a monthly basis at least, where we are requested on an ad hoc basis to import a medical device that is not registered. So can you quickly please walk us through the process in case we want to import a medical device on the spot? Is there a process in NAFDAC to regulate this without registration?
Okay, so to register on the spot, we have a scheme called the Service Medical Device Scheme that is used to process devices for unmet needs, So, and for that, there are certain requirements. One, we would need to have the manufacturer's information, the QMS compliance evidence for the manufacturer, the declaration of conformity with the essential principles of performance and safety, and then depending on the jurisdiction, because since these products will not go through a full review, we must have some level of confidence in the product. So for now, we don't accept products coming from reference countries, yes, for such approvals, because we need to have some level of confidence on the regulatory oversight in the country of manufacture, before we give that approval. So it's usually a one-off permit for those products to be brought in.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Dr. Khadijah. Such an honor to have you today. Thanks a lot.
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry.
Sure, go ahead, please.
So thank you, Khadijah, for the presentation. I need to ask this question because it was brought up in the presentation about the STED and the TOC documents. Now, many medical devices are imported into Africa and do not follow the TOC format. My first question is, Are you not going to accept them, or is there an alternative approach to the review? The second question is that you talked about verification of the class of the device after the dossier screening. Now, the classification of a device, the main role for that is to gear the conformity assessment route, which then gears the technical evidence. So the question is, do you do the verification before the screening of the dossier, or are you doing it after the screening of the dossier? And the third question, sorry, is about local African manufacturers who are not CE marked and not FDA approved. Do you have an alternative approval system for them as well? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think your first question was on STED and TOC. Yes, so we have been on this journey of migration from STED to TOC since last year. We've had stakeholder engagements to notify our stakeholders, and we have some products that were already in the pipeline that had been submitted using the STED. So we have given our stakeholders time, to migrate to the TOC. What we're doing is for new submissions, we're not receiving the STED format. But those that were already in the pipeline, we're giving them time to resubmit in the TOC format. Your second question was on, what was that? Oh yeah, risk. Yeah, so the risk classification is a multi-level verification. The first one will be done during the dossier screening, because dossier screening is just basically for completeness, in ensuring that the different sections of the TOC have been covered, the required information are there and all of that. So there isn't a really in-depth review at that stage. So the final verification of the risk classification, as stated by the manufacturer, will be done after the submission, when the full dossier review is ongoing. So that's how we run that process. Then in terms of the CE marking, what we do, because most of our devices are imported, and so part of the requirements are, like I said, I mentioned earlier, manufacturers' documentation, compliance documentation. So depending on the jurisdiction, the products are coming from, whatever relevant approvals are required over there must be provided. And of course, we have some of our own administrative documents, like the free sale certificates, power of attorney showing that you are legally approved by the manufacturer to represent them in Nigeria, and all of those other documents are part of what we require at the point of submission. Thank you.
Thanks again, Dr. Khadijah. Such an honor having you today. Thanks a lot. Our second speaker, I'm so excited to announce our second speaker, coming all the way from Senegal, and it shows how Senegal empowers young, fresh ladies. Dr. Arame Mbengue. She holds a doctorate of pharmacy and has 6 years of experience in the field of pharmaceutical regulation within the Senegal's MOH. She also holds 2 master's degrees, one in pharmaceutical inspection and another one in physicochemical analysis and quality management. In addition, Dr. Arame has obtained a university certificate from the International Chamber of Medical Devices, that's to say the practical knowledge and management at Joseph University in Burkina Faso back in 2021. She also serves as a WHO CRP focal point. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Arame. Dr. Arame will be presenting in French, and every 2 slides I will provide a quick recap in English.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. You will excuse me to speaking French because my English is not very well, but the presentation is in English. Donc, nous allons présenter une mise à jour du cadre juridique des dispositifs médicaux au niveau de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, notamment au Sénégal. Donc pour cela, nous allons voir le contexte, l'historique, le cadre juridique qui est légal au niveau de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, notamment au niveau du Sénégal, la classification, l'évaluation du cadre juridique au niveau du Sénégal et les perspectives. Donc, voilà, pour le contexte. Donc, bien que les dispositifs médicaux soient indispensables à la prise en charge des patients, ils demeurent des produits de santé encore peu ou mal connus et souvent complexes. Donc, leur utilisation efficace ne peut se faire sans une gestion rigoureuse, garantie par des textes législatifs et réglementaires appropriés. Donc, au Sénégal, seuls les DMDIV, notamment les réactifs de laboratoire, disposaient jusqu'à récemment un cadre réglementaire. Donc, en effet, ces produits sont encadrés depuis 2009 par le décret numéro 2009-365 du 20 avril 2009 qui fixe les conditions d'enregistrement, de distribution, en gros, des réactifs de laboratoire. Donc, pour les autres classes de dispositifs médicaux, il existait jusqu'alors un vide juridique. Donc, c'est en 2022 que la Commission nationale de l'UEMOA a adopté la décision numéro 3 2022 CM-UEMOA portant adoption des lignes directrices relatives à l'harmonisation et la réglementation des dispositifs médicaux au niveau de l'UEMOA. Donc, comme je l'ai dit tantôt, au niveau de l'historique, les dispositifs médicaux au Sénégal, il y avait une réglementation en 2009. Mais cette réglementation concernait uniquement les dispositifs de diagnostic in vitro, notamment les réactifs. Donc, c'est récemment qu'il y a eu une réglementation concernant ces produits.
So, historically, only drugs were regulated in Senegal along with the IVDs. And as per the new legislation, Dr. Arame will walk us through the new process of regulating medical devices. But so far, it's only IVDs that are regulated, and currently they are working to regulate in details all medical devices, and she will walk us also across the classification of medical devices in Senegal.
Voilà, donc pour le cadre juridique actuel, nous avons en 2022 donc la création de l'Agence sénégalaise de réglementation pharmaceutique qui était avant une direction rattachée au ministère de la Santé du Sénégal. Donc c'est en 2022 par décret qu'on a créé l'Agence sénégalaise de réglementation pharmaceutique. Donc en juin 2022 également, il y a eu la décision numéro 03-2022 CM-UEMOA portant adoption des lignes directrices relatives à l'harmonisation de la réglementation des dispositifs médicaux au niveau des 8 pays de l'espace UEMOA. Donc, au Sénégal, il y avait une loi, la loi de 54. Donc, c'est récemment que nous avons révisé cette loi de 1954 en adoptant la loi du 13 juin 2023 qui est relative aux médicaments, aux autres produits de santé et à la pharmacie. Donc, de cette loi est né le décret numéro 27 du 27 décembre 2023. C'est un décret qui fixe les conditions de fabrication, d'enregistrement, d'importation, d'exportation et de distribution des dispositifs médicaux. Donc, de cette loi, il y a un renvoi qui est un arrêté qui doit mettre en application ce que dit le décret 2023 sur les dispositifs médicaux. Donc, pour le cadre juridique, la nouvelle réglementation, que ce soit la réglementation au niveau de l'espace UEMOA et la réglementation du Sénégal, cette réglementation vise une harmonisation des dispositifs médicaux au niveau de l'espace UEMOA. Donc, que ce soit les deux textes, les textes de l'UEMOA et les textes du Sénégal, elles encadrent non seulement la classification des dispositifs médicaux en fonction du risque, les conditions de fabrication, d'importation, d'exportation et de distribution des dispositifs médicaux, les exigences de qualité, la sécurité et la performance, la surveillance post-marketing, l'homologation des dispositifs médicaux de classe B, C et D, mais une déclaration des dispositifs médicaux de classe A, ainsi que l'agrément des établissements de fabrication, d'enregistrement, d'importation et d'exportation de ces dispositifs médicaux.
So there are two regulatory frameworks in Senegal. The first one was, the table before was a group of all the decrees and and decisions issued by Senegal, the two of which that are relevant to medical devices was a decision dated 2022, reinforced by a decree that was released back in 2023. The second regulatory work frame, which reinforces the regulations of medical devices in Senegal, is as listed below, and it will be reinforced by the MPRA in Senegal, and it will focus on the classification of medical devices, registrations of classes B, C, and D, and the listing of Class A, post-marketing surveillance, conditions to manufacture, import, and distribute medical devices, and finally, the approval of establishments or the sites responsible for any processes across the life cycle of a medical device.
Voilà, que ce soit au niveau de l'espace UEMOA, dans les 8 pays de l'espace UEMOA, conformément à la décision de 2022, c'est cette classification qui est utilisée, la classification en fonction du risque, c'est cette classification qui est utilisée dans les autres pays, notamment au Sénégal. Donc, l'évolution du cadre juridique. Au niveau du Sénégal, nous avons la décision numéro 494 du 10 février 2023 portant sur la confiance réglementaire et ou la reconnaissance unilatérale sans réciprocité des certificats, des rapports d'évaluation ou bien des décisions d'autres autorités nationales de réglementation pharmaceutique. Nous avons également adopté au niveau du Sénégal une ligne directrice décrivant les autres modalités de délivrance d'AMI, même avec des procédures fast-track, confiance, collaboration, pour les médicaments et autres produits de santé, notamment pour les dispositifs médicaux. Donc, le 22 septembre 2023 également, le Sénégal a signé un accord avec l'OMS pour la procédure de collaboration OMS pour l'évaluation des dispositifs médicaux de diagnostic in vitro qui sont préqualifiés. Il y a aussi les autorisations d'importation qui sont également délivrées par l'autorité. Donc, pour les perspectives, donc déjà, il faut d'abord finaliser les textes réglementaires avec l'élaboration ou bien la signature du projet d'arrêté qui fixe sur les conditions d'enregistrement, d'importation, d'exportation sur les dispositifs médicaux, de mettre en œuvre effective la réglementation des dispositifs médicaux avec l'homologation, la surveillance post-market et les agréments des établissements, mais également la création d'unités de production de dispositifs médicaux selon le plan de relance de l'industrie pharmaceutique qui a été lancé par le président de la République, mais aussi l'atteinte de niveau de maturité 3 pour les dispositifs médicaux, car étant le premier pays francophone à atteindre le niveau de maturité 3 pour les médicaments, le Sénégal compte être également le premier pays francophone à atteindre le niveau de maturité 3 pour les dispositifs médicaux. Donc, je vous remercie de votre attention. Merci.
A quick wrap-up of the last two slides. The perspectives or the future aspirations and by the Senegal MOH is to finalize and implement the regulatory framework of medical devices, reinforce and activate the local manufacturing of medical devices, and finally achieving the WHO maturity level 3. Thank you so much, Dr. Arame. And the one final point was related to the WHO recognized medical devices, where any WHO recognized or accredited medical device will have a quick review or a fast-track review in 60 days. Correct?
Okay, correct.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arame, and it was a pleasure having you today.